The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for our webcast today. We'll be presenting Creo Interactive Surface Design Extension. My name is Matt Tognerelli. I will be the moderator today, and Kevin Leach, our lead application engineer, will be our presenter for today's webcast. We'll do a quick, brief intro of who BWI is, how we can help manufacturers with solutions across the product lifecycle. Then we'll go right into the presentation around PTC Creo Interactive Service Design, along with a live demo and a wrap-up with Q&A at the end. You're all currently in listen-only mode, but you can write in any questions throughout the webinar, and we'll be sure to have Kevin answer them at the end of the webcast. Barry-Wehmiller International is a division of Barry-Wehmiller, a $2.4 billion global organization that provides capital equipment, engineering, and IT consulting for a diverse array of industries. With more than 130 years of manufacturing experience, Barry-Wehmiller has a rich blend of capabilities and legacies of more than 80-plus businesses, united by the company's strong values, innovation, service, and fierce commitment to people whose lives we touch through the course of our business. Barry-Wehmiller continues to grow rapidly with more than 11,000 team members and 100-plus locations worldwide, serving customers in all corners of the world. Barry-Wehmiller International is the global provider of business and technology solutions to the mid-market and manufacturing domain. Our unique business model enables us to offer global expertise and consultative services while having strong local presence in the markets we serve. With operations strategically located to meet client needs throughout the U.S., Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific, BWI offers world-class engineering, enterprise, IT, and application managed services, solutions that enable its clients to achieve a competitive edge in the marketplace. Our global headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia, with additional offices throughout North America, Europe, and India. We have a quick couple of poll questions here real quick, and then I will turn it over to Kevin. Our first question is, what version of Creo are you currently using? All right, thank you. Next question is, do you currently have the Creo Interactive Service Design extension? All right, thank you. And final question here before I turn it over to Kevin is, would you be interested in further Creo Interactive Service Design extension training? All right, thank you, everyone. Kevin, I'm going to make you the presenter here.
Okay.
And you should be getting the invite right about now.
Tell me when you can see the screen.
All right, we got your screen, Kevin.
Okay, so thanks for everybody coming. My name's Kevin Leach. Like Matt said, lead application engineer for BWI. I've been using Creo for, I don't know, 15, 18 years. I've Only recently, though, in the last 5 years or so, have I been working with some of the surfacing, and even less with the ISDX. So Matt asked for some ideas of webcasts. I thought ISDX would be a good one because a lot of people either have never heard of it or haven't really seen it live or been able to come up with any reason that, it'd be kind of fun to do. So I grabbed a couple examples that I thought would kind of be an overview of what ISDX can do. It's the beginning of ISDX. It's not, somebody's going to ask some questions that are above my head, and I'll do my best to get answers later for them. But this is just kind of a beginning. Hey, this is a pretty cool tool, and I'll do a few things around that. So I'm using Creo 3. Unfortunately, I don't have Creo 4 yet. Just like everybody else, I'm kind of waiting for it to come out to see what new things have come out. And I saw all the preliminary stuff. I don't remember seeing anything about ISDX, so I'm not sure how much that's going to change in 4. And, when it comes out, we'll see how it works and see how it goes. That'll be for another day. So this is Creo 3. It's obviously an extra extension. It's one of the licensings that some companies will have or won't have for that. So I'm just going to start a brand new part here. And I'm going to go about kind of doing a cover. And a lot of times with surfacing, you'll get like an artist view of something or a JPEG. So I'm going to kind of build this around some JPEGs on the premise that maybe somebody sent me these and said, hey, I need a cover to kind of work towards this. And my job is to kind of build that cover. So I know that the cover is going to be 10 by a certain distance long, and I might want to even set up a little sketch in the background to give me some reference to some of these numbers. So I'm going to build a 10 by something here, rectangle. I don't know. I did that kind of quick. I should have been able to get that symmetric, and I didn't. Big deal. Make that like 7 and 10. And I'm working in English numbers just so, in case you're interested to know what units I'm using. So I just got a little box for myself to kind of get started here. I'm going to bring in those JPEGs. They're sitting in my directory. I got a couple JPEGs that somebody sent over that I'm going to build a cover around. So I'm going to bring them into it, and that's why I put the grid there so I have some reference to kind of get a feel for how big this cover is going to be. And then, the second part of this would be to build a cover for the backside off of the first cover. But today we're just going to do the first one. So to bring, one of the things that they did a couple versions ago, the ISDX was the only way to bring in images other than putting them on a surface and applying them as a surface. So in Creo, I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3, but one of the Creos, I think it was 2, changed that and moved the images out of ISDX. It actually allows you to add those images in just a base unit of Creo. So we're going to bring that in. I'm going to put an image on the front view. It's looking in my graphics library, which is not where those views are. They're actually in my working directory. And I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to kind of start working on this. So again, I put the sketch in there to give me some reference. And I'm just going to kind of bring this up and split this down the datum and kind of get around. So I'm going to rotate it. And I wanted to go the other way, actually, so let's go left twice. I want to make this thing 10 long, and one of the things I can do, and I kind of came across this a while ago, is that you can actually go in here and say, hey, you know what? I want to take this out, drag it out to here, drag it out to there, and I want this to be 10. Because that's kind of what my grid was, right? I put the grid in at 10. This allows me to kind of scale my image and kind of get me started there. And all I did was had to uncheck that guy. And I'm just going to kind of bring it in and lay it inside my grid and go, all right, well, that's a start. I'm kind of in the center there. Not too bad. Good enough. Add another image. You can add more than one image at a time. So I'm going to import the second image here and put it on the middle datum there. So working directory, that would probably be my left view. go to the left side here. Front view. Talking and thinking is not my strong suit. I tend to do better when I'm. Actually, that's the front view. That's the wrong image there. Do that again. Display images. Import. I think I lost the original one too. I just bailed out of that. My bad. Working directory top. View. Again. Just in case you missed it the first time, I get to do it again. Close. Good enough. Import. This view. Working directory. Which one is which? Yep, that's the one I want. Yeah, that's the better one. Front view. Bring that guy down. It's the same thing. I want to get distance here, and these are just going to be guides. I'm going to work my curves around to kind of play around with a little bit. So I'm not looking for absolutes. I might be building the second half of this cover off of the first half, so this is just the beginning start point. And that's not too bad. So I just brought in some sketches that I'm going to work around to kind of build my part. So that's not part of style, that's part of everything, and you can, and I could go and build solid models off of these sketches too. So you can use the sketch technique regardless of whether you're doing ISDX or surface modeling or solid modeling, it doesn't matter. But we're going to do some ISDX. So this style feature, and I also find this too, when I go out and visit customers a lot of times, they're not even sure if they have ISDX, but if you click on the style feature and it doesn't tell you to go see your sales guy, then you've got the license. So sometimes it's been built into some packages and it's available and maybe you just didn't know it. So style, what's nice about style is that you can build your boundary curves and your surfaces all within a feature. And the typical thing within surface modeling is your model tree can get really crazy. So this surface technique style brings some of that together, gets a little more organization to your model tree. It gives you some extra tools that you might not have had, like the ability to work, multiple screens at the same time. You can orient the models, so you can look at them in different views at the same time. I work on a laptop all day, so I tend not to do this multi-view thing because I got limited space anyway. But it's just a click of the window, and you can do a couple other things with that, but I tend not to do a bunch of it. So I'm going to start working on my curves first, right? Typical surface modeling, got to build the curves. So I'm going to build the curve around the bottom and some other curves. You have to set your active, so one of the clicks here is active plane orientation, set your active plane. Well, I actually have the active plane set correctly, so I was kind of skipping that step, but basically it's just set it, pick the datum you want, right click active plane orientation, start building a curve. Right, a free curve or a curve tied to the plane is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to build a plane curve and just shift, grab the datum, and I'm building splines around this shape. Right? So I can go back in once I get done with that curve. I can go back and double click on it and I can adjust it. And I didn't quite get that datum that I wanted, so I'm going to use the shift again and re-grab the datum. Drag it out. I have a little handle here that allows me to make that endpoint normal or whatever I want. So I actually want that to be normal to the datum. And I want the other datum here to be normal. Keep going back into theirs because I didn't really like the look of that. You got to be careful too. One of the things I was playing a little bit earlier, so I've actually offset that by accident. It's just a matter of bringing that back down to 0. So we'll talk about that offset in a second because I will offset. Back to my orientation here, kind of clean my curve up. like that one. That's not too bad. I'm okay. I also want a curve in this to represent this top lip. So I'm going to make another one. But this is one I'm going to actually offset. This is, I don't know, like 1.5, pretty close, looks okay. Go back, reset my orientation, and draw the second curve here. So I'm going to build another curve by grabbing the datum again. I wanted to get a little bit closer, left click, click, shift. Be done. I finished the second curve, go back in by right click and edit definition, or you can just simply come in here and double click on it, and then you can move your points, mess with your endpoint condition, make that one normal, this one normal, and I didn't finish that. You're going to go normal and then grab the datum. Do that again. Normal and grab the datum. All right. Bring that out. A little bit tighter here and clean it up. So I like that. So I got two curves. I'm going to build side curves, and then I'll build a surface and then work off of the surface to build the second surface and thicken. And you kind of get the idea here. So we're going to change the active plane. So we're going to set active plane to this datum. Now again, I offset that curve without actually building in a second datum. So it kind of saved me a step in there just by offsetting it. I could have built another datum and reset the active plane, but again, just little quick tips to make it a little bit easier. What did I do? I started talking. I wasn't watching. I don't want to cancel. There we go. For some reason, I lost my active window there. And got ahead of myself. We're going to reset that. So set active to this datum now because that's the center. We're going to end up mirroring this surface to get the other side. Create one, shift, grab the endpoint there. Curve 0. Shift. Right. So I just drew 2 points to create that curve. I can go back. I can go back into that curve. I can add a point by right-clicking on it and add a point or a midpoint. Right. I can control the ends here. So this would be horizontal. This side would be tangent. You can drag them, you can manipulate them and move them, do pretty much anything you want there. Again, I'm kind of using that sketch in the background to kind of get a feel for that. Build my last curve. Make sure I get the active one work. Stop the curve. Shift. That's going all the way to the wrong end here. Let me try this. What am I doing wrong? Pause for a second. There we go. I don't know what I was grabbing there. I was doing the same picks. I don't know if there's something with this go-to meeting or not. But video cards, if anybody's familiar with Pro, video cards and these extra apps like GoToMeeting and things create some weird conditions. I don't really know what happened. Oh, I'm not even on that. That's what the problem is. So active plane. I'm going to lose my mind. At this point, I would normally probably go and restart my computer because I'm starting to get aggravated. Let's see if we can get a surface here, just to get an idea. So you can see I built 4 curves. I had to cheat the last one because that's, for some reason, it was going to the wrong end. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but let's see if I can get a surface. So there's my surface, and I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I probably should have put some side condition into this. So I'm going to reset active plane to this one, build a curve. I'm going to offset this curve somewhere, I don't know, 3.5. Go back, redefine my surface, add an internal curve to that, and it tied onto the surface. And then again, if you go back in, now you'll see that the surface is reacting to my little cross there. Right? And that would be the beginning. And you would take that and you would mirror it to the other side and thicken it. And so I got one that's already a step ahead because I got that free curve in there. I don't really want to try to mirror that. So let me mirror this other one here. I had a little more time playing around with. Same concept, same, you know, if you look in here, same curves, except this one I worked fine with the plane and I got the surface. Take the surface, mirror it to the other side. Take the 2 surfaces, merge them. Take that and thicken, whatever distance. Hide the style tool. And there's your beginning shape of your cover. Take a look at the surface. All right, so you're getting a really high-end surface there. So that was just kind of a quick, like I said, I had a couple issues there. I don't know, it was grabbing opposite of where I was picking and doing some stuff. But that was the first little group that I wanted to do. The second one was motorcycle example. So we have an assembly with some imported parts here, and we're going to build a fender, and we're going to build a set of spokes, just because they seem like kind of fun. So we'll do the fork tire first. Do the wheel first. So how does ISDX kind of come into a wheel manufacturing thing? Well, what you can do is you can build the spokes very quickly. Same concept, using style. We can build a surface internal and pattern it around the hub there. So turn the datums on here. Let's go into the style tool. Set the active plane to be the center plane. Active plane orientation. we're going to go in and we're going to build some curves. Make sure we're at 0. And we're just going to build curve. We're going to start in here, and we're going to end up out there. We're going to build 4 like that. So curve, start here, end up there. So 4 separate curves. They're all on that same plane, but I can go back. I can go back into those, and I can just offset them now that I put it in there. So I can go 10 to the front, right? So it's going to offset 10 one way. Grab the other curve, and we can go 10 the other way, so minus 10. So we built them all on one plane, didn't have to build a bunch of planes. We can use them to build a surface. Control button. A nice little surface in there. And then we can use that surface to thicken. Didn't like it, a little too tight. Delete that and do it again. Also want to add some style to this as well, right? So it came in as flat blades, but let's see if we can add a little style to these. We're going to drag these down a little bit more too. So I'm just double clicking on them to activate them. Definitely get a little bit of an overbuild here. So I'm just trying to get a style, so I'm not too worried about control fit or automatic fit in the thicken part there. So cheat a little bit. But we can go back into this. One of the reasons why I did it this way in the first place is it really gets you the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to have a midpoint, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a curve. And the midpoint. And, you know, maybe it needs more. So maybe you want to pull it out even a little bit more. So there's our custom blade now. What we can do is, the way they made this rim, or the way we made this rim was, if I back up and show you, it's basically just the shape, the outside shape, the hub, and then a cut to remove that. So if I take the cut and I bring it down, the round's probably going to fail on me. We'll see here. Let's get rid of that round. And just take the cut and bring it down below the thicken, it'll wipe out that. And then I have to go back and redo my rounds. Hide the style, right? So I get rid of little blue curves there. Group them. So let's say we want an axis pattern. Automatically divide by 360, give it some crazy number. 11 might be too many, too much. Let's go back and make that 9. didn't want to delete the whole thing, just delete the pattern. Figure out what my problem is here. So I've been fighting with this. Let me see if I can -5. Make this a little bit less. Not quite as dramatic. And I lost my cut. I didn't. Check that guy down below the Wiccan. Hide the style. And let's see if we can pattern that guy again. And there we go, right? So now we're getting somewhere. So I got a little carried away with the curve and pulled it around a little bit too much, but that's, you know, that's all part of that whole design concept. Sometimes you got to go back and clean stuff up. If we look at our, let's give that some color. Give that a pretty color. Down here. And we're going to build the fender. So I'm going to build the fender the same way with a style tool. So these are just empty. And I can bring in, import in the side view of that. Start the style tool. Set the active plane. Grab the datum plane. Active plane orientation. And start building the fender. So curve. Make sure I'm not offset. Something like that. One of the things I didn't do on any of the other ones, you can actually do some analysis right on that curve. We do it this way too. We can just go up to curvature and kind of get a feel for the way that looks. And obviously I got an issue right on the bottom here. Click on that. You can always delete a point if you think the point is part of the problem. You can add the point back. What you got? Here's the first curve. I'm going to put a cross curve in here, so we're going to go set active plane to the center, put in a cross curve. Right to that. Let's get a side view of this. See what I'm doing. Couldn't really see what I was doing there, so let's do it again. That's enough information there to build a surface. Grab the curve I want to drive the surface along, grab the cross curve there to kind of give it the shape. The beginning of my fender, not quite what I was thinking, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a drop curve to cut away the bottom of this. Set active plane to here. Plane orientation. And we'll build a curve down the bottom. So I'm going to take something that comes in here and cuts away. That curve up a little bit. I don't really like the look of some of those, look kind of flat there. Looks good, but that's on that back plane. So I have to do a technique called the drop curve, where you grab the curve, do a drop curve out onto the surface. And you can hide inside here too to make your life a little bit easier if you don't want to see things. I'm going to do a trim. Surface trim using that drop curve I just created. Grab the bottom to delete. There's my fender. I want to go back and make sure that I make this curve normal to that top surface. So I'm going to go back in here, pick that point, and make sure I make that normal to that. That way it'll give me a better, when I go to mirror this, it'll make more sense. Drop curve, trim curve, surface, delete, bottom. There we go. Take this, mirror this to the other side. Merge them together. Merge them. Thicken. Shape, hide style, hide the import. Don't really need that when I go back. Maybe add some color to this guy. My fender and my wheel. Get over to render. Room. Just trying to find something that I like there that I can do a quick little render. Obviously, I don't want a wood background. I'll put something else in here, maybe some stone or something. Yeah, we'll leave it on brick. Make the floor go down a little bit. Leave it base. Find a window. There's a quick little motorcycle rim and fender. And that's kind of where I was heading today. I'm hoping that you guys would get something out of this, even if it's just one little thing. It'd be nice. If you've never seen ISDX, this is kind of the concepts. It's a very conceptual piece of software, more of a industrial designer kind of piece of the puzzle. The nice part is at the end of the day, you end up with Creo models, you end up with Creo solids. You kind of can work within your assemblies. You can You can do a lot of those basic technique stuff with it. And it can be a mixture. It don't have to be just all ISDX. It can be, you know, some combination of solid modeling with ISDX. I'm getting better at it. I'm still, you know, in the probably, you know, I don't do it every day, so it's not something that I live and die with. But I definitely find it advantages to doing some of that work with it.
Hey, Kevin, I'm going to let you stay the presenter because we do have some questions about what you're doing there. So just in case you can toggle in between kind of answering the questions and show things. One of them is, one of the questions was, where did you get the original image from? You have that on your system, correct?
Yeah, the actual motorcycle tire and rim and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that on my system already, and you know, it's just a Pro E model that I got.
Okay.
The ISDX really had nothing to do with designing that, right? It was just the rim is just a revolve, and the tire is just a revolve. There's nothing special there.
Alrighty. Let's see. Next question would be, are you sure the base CRV at the aft right goes all the way to the sketch plane?
So I'm not sure if was that an early question on the cover, or was that a question on the tire?
Yeah, that was going to be an early question on the cover.
So one of the things I was doing is I was using the shift key to kind of grab onto the points, and the shift to grab onto the center datum, and then I would make the point normal to that datum. So therefore I knew I was grabbed onto the center datum.
Okay. Next one. Sometimes I will reverse engineer a physical part by laying it on a scanner and import it in Creo and then have to trace around it. Are there any tools that can automatically create the outline curve from light dark contrast in the scanned image? That's
not that I have not heard of that. Normally what I do instead of the scanner is I use my camera on my phone, which is probably the best image I can get, and just use a JPEG. But the scanner is the same concept, the black and white. I don't know of any that'll pull that line up for Pro E anyway.
Okay. All right. What is internal collector versus the other collector options?
Yes, I'm not really sure where that comes in.
That's gonna be your other part still, I think.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to send an email with specifics, I'll try to figure that out. I don't know that I can answer that right off the.
Okay.
Anything else?
Let's see. Are the surfaces tangent across mirror plane or C2 continuous?
So they were tangent. They were not C2 in the example of the cover or in the model, in the tire, the fender.
Okay.
So if I brought that fender back up, it's not C2. I don't think.
All right.
Yes, I actually got a little flat right in the middle there.
Okay. And then, so how would you make the surfaces C2? Is that what you just showed there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they're tangent right across that. That's not C2. To be honest, I don't really know the answer to the ISDX C2 thing. I am still kind of getting there. I know that I figured that out with regular Pro E surface, that your curves have to be curvature continuous in order to get that C2 finish. I don't know how I do it in ISDX at this moment.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Alrighty, if you guys have any more questions, go ahead and write those in. We got a quick couple other things we need to hang on here too. All right, so if you are looking to get any more extra training for Creo or Windchill skills, we provide certified training in 6 facilities throughout the U.S. We also do on-site training or virtual training as well. Feel free to browse those training schedules by visiting our website at b-wi.com/training. We also do have a holiday special going on right now. If you register for any of our training classes before December 31st, you can take advantage of the holiday special. You can receive 15% discount for a single student registration, or there's also a register 2 students at regular price and get the 3rd registrant for free. So there's a couple of options there within training, and if you'd like, you can also speak to our National Training Manager, Joe Ferret, and he'll be more than happy to answer any questions as well for you. PTC also has a Creo 4 coming up. Looks like we got one more question. No. Okay. So PTC does have a kind of a kickoff for their Creo 4 webcast that they're doing. You can also log on to that one there as well. And all of our webcasts are recorded. You can get those at b-wi.com/webcast. And if you have any questions about this further, you can reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to get with Kevin and have him answer any of the questions, or I'll see if I can do my best to answer some of the questions as well. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Any last words from you, Kevin?
That's all I had. I hope you guys, like I said, it's just a very light overview of the ISDX, but it might open up some doors. So that's all.
Okay. All righty, Kevin. So thank you, everybody. Have a happy holidays. Our next webcast is actually going to be January 19th, where it's going to be we'll be covering options and variance management and Windchill. So everyone have a happy, safe holidays, and we'll see you after the first of the year. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.